Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today I'm talking about how to heal yourself, starting with emotional wounds that we carry, the main source of why we develop coping mechanisms, the main source of why we suffer from a lot of emotional pain and trauma, the main source of how we develop coping mechanisms that allow us to sometimes self-sabotage. And knowing how to heal yourself is very, very vital as part of you looking at ways to move beyond the pain, looking at how to restore yourself, looking at how to heal and begin to build healthier relationships, looking at how to also help yourself build healthy relationships going forward. And today I'm really sharing this because I believe a lot of us are kind of stuck in our lives and our journey, and we don't really know how to go about healing, which is where most people find a way of looking for someone else to come in and take away the pain that they have. I shared that earlier on today in a quote saying that if you're, you can still be highly functioning while you're emotionally wounded. And what you do is to project your pain and to create assumptions and illusions and fantasies that make you perform and act and really project pain on other people that you come across when it comes to building romantic relationships, and allow you to set up unhealthy, unrealistic expectations that also leave you more in a place of pain than in the place of healing. And one of the vital things to know about the healing process is no one can heal you except you begin to heal yourself. Let me type that down. No one can truly heal you. Thanks so much for joining. No one can truly heal you except you begin to heal yourself. If I can type today. And one of the important things about healing yourself is that you're also empowering yourself to know who you are, to establish a healthy relationship with yourself first. And when you come to know who you are, you also come to love yourself, because the love you have is the love that you can give. You can't give what you don't have. And what that allows you to do is also begin to set healthy boundaries, develop requirements based on how you're meeting your needs and who you need to complement you, not complete you, because we always confuse those two. Complement is different from completing. And when you look for someone to really complement you, you're looking for a partner who you come into partnership and agreement and commitment with, that helps you build better, that supports your growth while you're also supporting them. And as you begin to really heal, your partner can also support your healing process. Let me just put this out on the table, that healing is a lifetime process. You don't heal at once. Healing is a lifetime process. You don't heal at once. Once you commit to the healing process, what you do is begin to gain a conscious awareness of how the emotional wounds transpire and help you make irrational decisions or poor choices that lead you to acquire more pain. Once we begin to acquire more pain, then we get into this emotional traumatic state where sometimes we become emotionally numb to ourselves, and we're not really getting better. We're just acquiring more. And what we do in that space is to continue to repeat patterns and cycles. So I'm going to start with how we literally begin to acquire emotional pain as children. You grow up in a family where your parents are busy working. They're also struggling with their own relationship. The family dynamics is different. You're trying to get attention and affection. You get excited, but you're always being spoken down at. And sometimes we don't really know how damaging this emotional wounds are from childhood. You're looking up to a parent. You feel like you're trying your best, but you never get anything positive. Negative is always spoken into you. You're always condemned. You go on and you try to please them. All you do is develop coping mechanisms to begin to please. You walk on eggshells just to make sure that, you're trying to just be in a place where you're now playing the adult as a child just to be able to make them happy. But nothing really works for you in terms of your emotional happiness, emotional wealth, and your sometimes as children, this emotional traumas and pain that we carry leads to a child bedwetting because the child begins to have anxiety and panic, and people don't even know why the child is bedwetting because of all the emotional pain and trauma that the child is acquiring from that environment, and the child begins to feel numb at a very early stage. That's why you see people that are diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder suffer a lot, because they've carried so much emotional wounds as children between the ages of 3 and 7. Their mental health is not properly developed, and they've not literally shut down. So you find yourself as a child isolating, as a child just sitting. You've been told go play with the toys, so all you've been introduced to are objects that kind of console you. And every time you get into that emotional wounded place, you go back and take the toys and kind of pacify yourself. That goes on into adult life because you've mastered all the coping mechanisms that are not helping you become healthy emotionally. And then you begin to look for, you start to fantasize about having a partner based on all this conditioning, societal conditioning through TV programs, and sometimes all the romantic novels and movies that really condition you, or even watching couples around you thinking, maybe if I find a partner, my problems will go away. And you get into a relationship while still emotionally wounded, and what you discover is the partner cannot really help you get better. They're making your condition worse because you've actually packaged yourself. You've performed based on how you've coped as a child to win over people, to please people, to have people believe that as long as you're slaving yourself, then things will work out. Those are all coping mechanisms that are emotionally damaging that we acquire. So you get into a relationship and all you do is perform and act and believe that, this Cinderella story or this Peter Pan story will make it happen. And at the end, it will be beautiful. But then you acquire more pain from the partner after a while because they're also emotionally damaged. We are what we attract and who we attract. And because you're also projecting some of the things that you're expecting that are setting the unrealistic expectation, and they are doing the same thing, they sometimes would also perform and mirror back everything you say to them about what you need in a romantic relationship just to get you to come into their space. But all they are is also emotionally wounded partners. And so what you discover is that nothing heals, but you're finding yourself getting attracted to the same kind of partners over and over again. And you're wondering, are there good partners out there? Yes, there are indeed good partners. But when we're not emotionally healed, when we're emotionally wounded, what we attract are the emotionally unhealthy partners because we ourselves are emotionally unavailable in our own space. And how do you know you're emotionally unavailable? You're always seeking for answers outside yourself. You're always going to perform and people please just to try to have people in your space to validate your emotions, to validate your feelings. But reality is that your feelings and your emotions are already valid and they're communicating to you things that you don't know. Take, for instance, you get in a relationship and your partner isn't meeting those expectations that you set. What you try to do is try to make that partner see why they have to do what you have in mind, what you have developed out of the fantasies and the illusions that you're looking for. What you're looking for as someone to emotionally rescue you is what you present. And that partner begins to look at it like, I'm not getting it. I can't be this. I can't be that. You can't change me. I'm who I am. And you start to see the person mirror back to you everything that you've experienced as a child. And that childhood pain and trauma and emotional wounds continue to show up to the surface. And you now feel like you're going to be rejected and broken again. And it happens that at the end of the day, you get triggered from the pain that you've buried that you're not consciously aware of, triggered from all the emotional wounds that you carried as a child that you're not consciously aware of. And you start to get angry and spit out words, hurtful words in that moment because they're not really meeting those expectations that you set. And the relationship ends and you find yourself back in square one. One of the beautiful things about healing yourself is that you gain the conscious awareness of all this buried emotional pain that you've carried for so long from childhood that you may sometimes be numb to as adults, and that make you throw the tantrums that you're experiencing when you get emotionally triggered by a situation. It may even be at work, it may be a friend, it may be any situation that triggers that thing, and then you develop the anxiety, you develop the panic, you develop the depression, and you drown yourself again in the emotional wounds that you're not consciously aware of. Healing yourself starts with recognizing the emotional wounds and triggers that you carry. And as long as you're allowing yourself to gain the conscious awakening, and you're also committing to the healing process, which is a lifetime process, you will become better. You will not remain bitter. You will not remain resentful. You will not remain angry. You will recognize the triggers. And as long as you're recognizing the triggers, you're also gaining a conscious awakening to what is triggering you that may be buried. And as you gain that moment, what you do is heal and learn new techniques to manage your emotions so that your emotions are not managing you. And as you begin to really heal yourself, what you discover is your surrounding, your circle will begin to change, because people that are not healing are no longer attracted to you. When you're not healing, what happens is you attract people that are in the same space of not healing, and all you do is marinate the pain and look for reasons to validate the emotions that are already valid. And what people do in that space is actually invalidate your feelings, because they make you feel it's okay to experience emotional pain and it's okay not to heal from it. And as you continue to stay in the positive, toxic positivity environment, what you discover is nothing gets better. You are the only one who goes home at night and sits up and wonders, will life be better for me? And you wonder also, why is it you're struggling in other areas of your life? The reality is that all the areas of our lives are tied together. When we have unhealed emotional wounds, it affects the mental health, the emotional health, the spiritual health, the financial health, the physical health, the work-life balance. Every area is affected. You may find yourself shopping just to numb the emotional pain, but the shopping doesn't take it away. You may find yourself struggling financially and wondering, why is it that I'm always in a place where I'm lacking? Because there is a lack in the major area, which is the emotional and mental, and you're not able to really gather. And there are people that are actually high functioning in those areas. All they do is manipulate and control from the high functioning spectrum of where they're operating from. But truly, they're emotionally broken and damaged. And so you may find people trying to control you in relationships because they've also experienced a lot of emotional wounds and trauma as children, and all they know is fight hard and allow the ego and the fear to show up without them truly showing up for themselves. So today, I really want you to begin to look at yourself, where you are currently. Are you emotionally healthy? And if your answer is, I'm not sure, then you're not. The reason why I'm saying it is because I've also been there before. I did not recognize how the buried emotional pain and wounds that I carried affected every area of my life and allowed me to live in my shadow, then become my true self. And it's all about you gaining a conscious awakening to those things that are breaking you down, that make you feel like you're always having this emotional roller coaster ride that doesn't help you get better, that doesn't help you move forward, that doesn't help you realize that you need to grow, because life is dynamic, it's not stagnant. And at every phase of our journey, we have to discover who we truly were created to be and evolve. Evolving is a daily process. And as you evolve, you also heal from everything that's stunting your growth and also stunting your emotional intelligence. And one of the reasons why it's also vital is that you begin to realize those unconscious choices that you've made that are keeping you in places where you don't belong. So to begin to heal emotionally healthy, to begin to heal your emotional wounds and become emotionally healthy, the first thing you have to do is make a commitment to yourself. Make a commitment to yourself, because without committing to you, nobody else can commit to you. Make a commitment to yourself, because the moment you commit to it, you're saying, I am signing myself up to become better. I am choosing to break free from what's breaking me. I am not going to turn back. I am committed to this journey of growth. I am committed to this journey of self-discovery. I am committed to this journey of finding myself and loving myself so that I can attain wholeness. I am committed to getting emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually healthy, so that when I know me, I can know who and what I need in my space. And I am not attracting more pain and trauma bonding and trauma dumping and staying in a place where I do not belong. So as you commit to yourself, the second thing you have to do is to commit to healing. You're committing to yourself, and you're also making a commitment to heal. You're committing to yourself saying, right now, I am committing to find myself. I am committing to heal myself. I am committing to discovering everything that I may have unconsciously buried that is becoming the stumbling block and has created limited beliefs and has awakened fear and ego that is stopping me from really getting to where I need to be and really working the journey of purpose that I was created for. And as you commit to that, you're going to go back. Yes, this is the journey where we all don't like going. You're going to go back and pull up the rug. That is the most important part of your healing journey. And it is the most painful part of the healing journey. To pull up the rug and examine all those things that you've buried. Pull up the rug and examine the emotional wounds. Let me type this out. And the reason I'm saying this because I've had to do this myself. In doing this myself, the first rug I pulled up was the rug of me being raped at 17. I had buried that pain, and it led me to the wrong relationships. I had also buried the pain of being emotionally wounded as a child, and that led me to the wrong relationships. And I had to pull up the rug. Because without pulling up the rug, you will be lying to yourself. And you will be developing all these coping mechanisms that make you make irrational decisions and poor choices that lead to acquiring more pain and trauma. And you don't deserve that. You deserve healing. You deserve your peace. You deserve your happiness. You deserve your freedom. You deserve to forgive you and allow yourself to live in the abundance of which you were created. And so you have to pull up the rug and begin to examine the emotional wounds that may be leading you to perform, that may be leading you to cope, that may be leading you to making poor choices that result in consequences that are emotionally damaging, to make you begin to live more in a place of pain than healing. You're going to pull up the rug of the fear and the shame and the guilt that have been created from all these emotional wounds that you think if somebody ever finds out that I had been through this, they will shame me. But they did not create you. Let me say that again. They may shame you, but they did not create you. And if you allow them to continue to be the showstoppers in your life, you will never truly find yourself. You will never truly love yourself. You will continue to live in your own shadow. You will awaken fear and ego, and you will not become the light and love that you were really created to be. And I say that because I've been down that path. I felt so ashamed of myself. I could not talk about all the pain that I had acquired. I could not talk about being raped because people did not believe the story that I was raped. But I had to show up for myself. I had to commit to myself. I had to commit to healing myself. I was tired. I was tired of repeating patterns and cycles. I was tired of being my own showstopper. I was tired of losing myself further than healing myself and discovering who I was really created to be. I was tired of giving my power away. I was tired of losing my voice. And I had to come to the point where I said, I no longer want to be caged. It is time for me to break free from what's breaking me down. Yes, the healing journey will be lonely, but you know what? it is the most peaceful thing you can ever give yourself. And it is the greatest gift you can ever give yourself. If I wasn't committed to healing back then, I don't think I would have written Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality, Being Single, Beyond the Pain, on Becoming Restored, become a coach, become a global speaker, become an award-winning author, become someone who will be speaking to you today, because I would have been dead. I was begging God to take my life, but he didn't. He knew I had a purpose. He knew I had a mission to help other people heal. He knew I had a mission to help other people find themselves and really build healthy relationships. The only person I was giving on myself was myself when I was saying, God, take my life. That was me giving up on me, even though God was still giving me life and breath to live. And that's how we give up on ourselves. We give up, and then we look for other people to come in and fill the void that they did not create and they don't even know about, and they can't even help us uncover. And that was me looking for the wrong relationships at the wrong places in the wrong time that led me to become more broken and acquire more emotional pain and trauma. And I just felt like I didn't know myself again. And I had to find myself. I told God, if you will spare my life once more and help me find myself, forever I will serve you. And he's always the one who commits to us, even when we're not committing to ourselves. And I had to give up everything that I knew. I had to unlearn a lot. And I'm still unlearning. Some of you may say, oh, she's up here now, she's doing this, she can say this and she can say that. And I get that a lot in my inbox. But I'm still learning, because life is a journey of self-discovery. And every single day that we're giving life and breath, we have to keep discovering who we are. Not the person we think we are, because we have to shed all those and really allow ourselves to emerge. When we humble ourselves enough to say, you know what? I don't know anything. I'm lost. I need help. I can't do it all by my own. I can't fake it anymore. I can't package it anymore. I can't perform anymore. And what we don't really understand when we're not building emotionally healthy is we get into these relationships that we tie ourselves into. When we get into this unhealthy emotional acts, which may be lust, infatuation, and all that, and you give a piece of yourself away, and that person takes your power away and your voice away, and you're staying in a place where you're hurt and broken and in pain, and no one can understand it except you. And the more you try to explain it, people just look at you like, oh, you let that idiot go, but they don't know the pain that you're experiencing. They don't know the depth of you staying up at night and crying internally that no one can hear. They don't know the longing of your soul that wants to really be healed, but doesn't know how. And it all begins by you committing to yourself and committing to healing and saying, I'm ready to pull up the rug. And let me tell you, when you begin to pull up that rug to examine the emotional wounds that are buried, you will discover so much more about you, how powerful you are, how great you are, how whole you need to be, how enough you are, how much you need to forgive yourself for holding on to things that are no longer serving you, for trying to control things that you can't control, and trying to put yourself in places where you're getting more hurt and more pain and more trauma. And why you're losing yourself. The beauty about healing is it takes away the shame, the guilt, the unforgiveness, and it brings you freedom, peace, happiness, and love. Because all those are within you already. You were created with all of those. But when we come into the world and we allow ourselves to become conditioned with limited beliefs, and we acquire our parents' pain and trauma more from what they have also acquired, all this generational trauma that we carry further, that break us further, we get lost in the process. But the joy of healing the emotional wounds is to begin to break free from what's breaking you down. And that begins with looking at the wounds. Everything that comes to your consciousness, when you make that commitment to yourself by writing yourself a commitment letter to heal and find yourself, write them down. That's your assignment. As you pull up the rug, write down what comes to you as those emotional wounds and pain, that you've acquired that you need to heal from. And begin to look at each one and write down, what am I learning from each of this? Because the lessons are part of the healing process. And as you begin to look at the lessons, what did I learn about myself from this experience? Because when we don't examine those lessons, guess what? We don't turn them into our blessings. And the blessings are what we need to gain the conscious awakening of why we should not really put ourselves in places where we're getting hurt and we're getting broken, but allow ourselves to set the healthy boundaries and meet our own needs, so that when we now have the requirements, we can vet those people we're coming in contact with. And we're choosing to remain emotionally healthy. And so as you begin to write down the lessons, look at what those things are teaching you about you, not about the other person, because you don't even have to focus on the other person. You don't have control over them. You have control over you. And begin to examine what those lessons are teaching you about you. One of the lessons I learned was I was people pleasing. I was a big time people pleaser, high functioning one. I will drop everything I'm doing the moment somebody says, hey, I need you to do this for me. And what I was learning was they weren't even reciprocating the love back. I was that empath who could put myself in places, and I was abused a lot for it. And I realized I did not have healthy boundaries. I did not say yes to myself. I was saying no to me, and I was choosing other people over me. But the reality of life is the love you have for yourself is the love that you can give and share with other people without having to sacrifice who you are. Because when you have to sacrifice who you are, you're going to lose yourself in the process. And you're going to acquire a lot of emotional pain in the process. And you're going to begin to deal with emotional pain and trauma that you don't need in your space, that buries you further, creates this unhealthy environment, and then you're lost in your own world. So once you begin to learn the lessons, you realize, if I say yes to myself in this manner, I don't have to people please. I have to take care of my own emotional needs first before I take care of everybody else's emotional needs. And you begin to see how patterns that you've repeated as a child show up in your adult life. As you begin to examine the lessons from the emotional wounds that you're gaining. And then you can turn those into blessings by really allowing yourself to take care of you first, so that you can attract the people that will complement you in life, the purpose helpers and the purpose pushers, not the killers and the stoppers. If you need to read more about that, grab my book, Being Single. I have documented all of those in there. And it's all about you really realizing that when you become healthy, you won't have many people in your space. And that's okay. Because the healthier you become, the healthier people you will surround yourself with. And you realize most of the time when you have so many people in your circle is because of trauma dumping and trauma bonding. Emotional wounds allow us to have so many people in our circle who are toxic positive at the same time. But as you know, you can't be toxic and positive at the same time. You're either positive or you're either toxic. And if you really want to be healthy and you really want to heal yourself, you will get rid of toxicity in your life. And you will own those moments of truth. You will own those moments of truth. And as you own your truth, you realize that the truth will set you free. And as the truth begins to set you free, the shame and the guilt fall off. Because the shame and the guilt are what create the lies that we tell ourselves. Oh, I'm okay. I'm good. It is well. But all those are toxic positive. When it is not well and you say it is well, you're actually gaslighting yourself in a way that you don't even know it. And you're feeding yourself with crumbs than a whole meal. And you deserve better. And you have to come to the realization that no one can heal you except you're committed to the healing journey. And as you heal, the circle begins to become smaller, but your vision also becomes clearer. And as you gain clarity, you open yourself up for love in your own space, and freedom and healing and forgiveness. And you break free from resentment, bitterness, depression, anxiety. Because what emotional wounds do to us is they create anxiety and panic attacks. Every time you get into that unhealthy relationship and you start having the feeling of this person, you're going to lose this person, you start becoming anxious, and you begin to perform and act and play the parent and play the nanny and play the wife or the husband just to be able to keep them. But all those are bringing to your awareness everything you've buried as a child that are now being reenacted as an adult without you knowing it. And the emotional wounds just ooze up to the surface again. But without healing and getting that conscious awakening, you're buried with shame and guilt all over again. And then unforgiveness becomes laced up with it, like the icing on the cake. And you become unforgiving to yourself. But you don't realize that forgiveness releases you from the pain and the emotional wounds and leads you to a place of peace and stillness. And so without committing to yourself, without making the choice to heal, what you do is hold yourself in places of bondage, in places of unforgiveness, in places of, not healing. Yes, you may be high functioning. You may become a workaholic. You may use other things to pacify yourself. That's why we see men and women pacify with sex, just to marinate the pain, but the pain never goes away. And then they become emotionally numb. They've been taught how to use objects as children to pacify pain and emotional wounds. So as adults, the sex, the lust, the infatuation become the pacifiers and the soothers of the pain, but the pain isn't going away. All they do is repeat patterns and cycles and hurt more people in the process, while still not emotionally breaking free from what's breaking them down. But healing is a choice. Bitterness is a choice. Holding on to emotional wounds is a choice. And whatever we choose becomes our reality in life. So my question to you today is, what are you choosing? Are you choosing healing? Are you choosing commitment to yourself? Are you choosing breaking free from what's breaking you down? Are you choosing to move beyond the pain to become restored? Or are you choosing to stay in a place where you're not healthy to yourself? For every choice we make, there's a consequence that we face. For every choice we make, there is a consequence that we face. And if we're not making the great choices, then we're choosing to leave ourselves in a place where we're hurting more than healing ourselves. And you have to really heal yourself if you want to become better daily. You don't deserve to be in a place of pain every single day you wake up, when God is granting you new beginnings, but you're choosing to hold on to the old patterns that are breaking you down. Every single day is a brand new day. There is no past. The past is history. It's gone. We only hold it here when we live from our heads instead of living from our hearts. And when you examine everything you've buried, you're going into your heart and saying, I need to set my soul free. I need to set my heart free. I need to stop living in my head. I need to start to live from my heart. Because everything that you do when you guard your heart and live from your heart will help you become better. But if you're living from your head, you're going to live in the past. And the past doesn't exist. The past can only hold you bound when you choose to hold on to the pain that it carries. Every day is a new beginning. Every day is a new chapter. Every day is a new blank slate to begin over. And you have to make the choice to want to live in the new moment, in the new day, in the new minute that you're granted when you choose to heal and commit to healing yourself. So that as you learn about yourself, and as you begin to love yourself, and as you begin to move toward wholeness, you're beginning to make better choices that help you grow and move forward and attract better to yourself. Two unhealthy people cannot have a healthy relationship. As I've said in my book, Beyond the Pain. And if you keep looking for love in the wrong places without giving that love to yourself first, you're just going to keep finding hurt and pain and emotional wounds that you don't deserve. You deserve better. You are indeed enough. You are indeed a miracle. And the fact that you're a miracle is enough for you to want to heal, to really show that miracle forth, that you can break through from the pain and move beyond it to become healthy. And that alone is a miracle as you heal yourself. So if there are questions, I will take your questions. I just wanted to share that, how to begin to heal. Because when I get to coach people and they're struggling with not wanting to release the pain that they're holding on to that no longer serves them, I see them choosing to hold on to hurt that has no place, has no meaning. And because it's all because they're living from here, they're not living from the heart. And when you leave from your head, you're just going to hold on to things that you've carried as a child that begins to be reenacted as an adult. The pain, the emotional wounds, the trauma that are not serving you, but holding you in places where you don't belong. And as a coach, my mission is to help you heal, move beyond it, discover your true self, build first for yourself, true loving yourself and learning what works best for you so that you can build healthy relationships with other people and make your life become better, not remain bitter. You can navigate the murky waters of life as you learn those lessons and turn them into blessings, because that's what they really are. Every experience is meant to shape and grow us. But if we're not learning from the experiences and deducting the lessons and utilizing the lessons, then we become our own blessing blockers. So if there are any questions, feel free to ask your questions, because my goal is to really help you gain this conscious awakening so that as you begin to know yourself, as you begin to commit to yourself, as you begin to heal yourself, as you begin to own your truth, and as you begin to learn to love yourself, you can attract true love into your own space, because you know what you need. You know how you're meeting your needs, and you know who you need to complement you, either in a romantic relationship or in a friendship. And you also know what you need in terms of work-life balance, in terms of spiritual growth, in terms of emotional health and mental health, as well as physical, because they're all tied together. If there are no questions, I'll be signing off. Again, my goal is to continue to help you gain a conscious awareness to who you are. So if you really want to learn more how to become committed to yourself and how to heal, feel free to DM me or email me, coaching@kemisogunle.com. My email is somewhere up there, and I'll be more than happy to schedule a complimentary session with you to help you begin to gain the lessons. Remember, no one can hold you bound except you're choosing to hold yourself bound. No one can free you from pain except you commit to healing and freeing yourself from pain. No one can forgive you except you begin to forgive yourself and move beyond the pain and become restored in your own place. And know that when you're choosing to hold on, you're choosing to hold yourself bound and in a place of pain and trauma, and not a place of freedom, healing, and peace. When every single day that you're being awoken, God is giving you that peace and happiness that you truly deserve. But without healing, you can't receive those, because you will let the pain block the blessings, and you can't turn the blessings into lessons that really bring you into a space of abundance of your heart, abundance of peace, abundance of love, and abundance of life. You don't have to keep existing You have to learn to begin to live. Live in and with purpose, because that's why you were created. And without fulfilling your purpose, you just existed. But we know life is short. And tomorrow is not guaranteed. Not even the next nanosecond is guaranteed. This moment is all we have. And if you're choosing in this moment to heal yourself, you are choosing to free yourself. You are choosing to own the truth. You are choosing to examine those things that are becoming the roadblocks that are leading you into more painful places. And you are choosing to move beyond the pain. You can. If I can do it, trust me, you can. I have been on this journey 12 years now, and it becomes beautiful every single day because I'm allowing myself to just evolve on a daily basis. And I'm leaving the shrubs behind because trees don't grow to become shrubs. Trees grow taller every day. And if you're looking to commit to yourself and grow, you will leave behind the shrubs and everything that no longer serves you. You have the power to own your voice, to take your power back, and to regain momentum as you find yourself and live truthfully and purposefully. Like I said, life is short. And it is for the living, not the dead. The dead can't even enjoy the life that we're being granted every single day. And if you've been chosen to be alive today, it is a gift. And you have to take advantage of that gift to heal yourself so that at the end of the day, you can look at it and say, you know what? I learned so much about myself. I learned to say yes to myself. I learned to love myself and become the love that I wish to attract. And I learned to live purposefully because that's why I'm here. Do you even know your purpose? And do you know the purpose of everyone that you're connecting to? Because sometimes we think, oh, I connected to this person to bring me pain. But reality is they connected with you to bring you an awakening, to gain a conscious awareness of that pain that you've been holding on to that no longer serves you. But it takes you to see it, being committed to yourself and being committed to the healing journey, so that you can realize that every experience is meant to shape, build, not break you, but mold you into who you were truly created to be. And as you learn that, you never stop loving while living. When you stop loving, you stop living. When you stop living, it means it's time to go back to God, the Maker. But while He's still giving you life and breath, heal yourself. Heal the emotional wounds and trauma. And begin to break free from what's breaking you down. That's all I have today. Since there are no questions, I'll be signing off. You all have a great and amazing week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take good care. God bless. Bye-bye.